This is the voice of the Republic. Facts don't care about your feelings. Reality doesn't need your approval. No spin. No excuses. No lies. We break it down. We call it out. We say it straight. If it's true, you'll hear it here. If it's weak, we tear it apart. This is clarity. This is backbone. This is the voice of the Republic. And it starts now.
Hi guys, welcome to the fifth episode of The Voice of the Republic. Hope you guys enjoy this, and I hope you guys learned something from this episode. So we got the Carmelo Anthony charges. Carmelo Anthony was accused of killing Austin Metcalf. So Carmelo Anthony is a boy that killed Austin Metcalf. Carmelo Anthony just got sentenced to 35 years in jail for killing a kid when the whole thing was like really weird and sketchy. Some people say it's self-defense, and some people say it's not self-defense, but I would say that when somebody asks you to leave a tent, when hypothetically you're in a tent and somebody asks you to leave a tent, and then where you are trying to start a fight, and then the other guy backs off and he asks you to leave the tent, I don't care what the implication is. I don't care what the reason is. If somebody asks you to go in and leave the tent and you want to start a fight, and then when somebody pushes you lightly, you whip out a knife and stab him in the heart so he bleeds out, that's kind of like weird, because like that's like murdering a kid for no reason when he asked you nicely to leave before that. But besides that, I mean, the whole case is just it's slop. And yeah, 35 years behind bars. Not the nicest thing ever, but I mean, it could be much, much worse for him. Obviously, he was sentenced, if I'm not mistaken, Austin Metcalf's, uh, Austin Metcalf's mom said to Carmelo Anthony that he was sentenced to 35 years in prison, but she was sentenced to a life without her son, which obviously is awful. And the whole reason why this came. Like why this became like the big thing, Carmelo Anthony and Austin Metcalf. I mean, it's been a couple of months. The whole reason why this became a big thing was because it was similar to the George Floyd. It was similar to the George Floyd. It was similar to hands up, don't shoot, when he obviously doesn't have his hands up. It was the same. It was the same to the George Floyd, which like the George Floyd was definitely like the biggest in America. The George Floyd was like the thing where it's like all the cities were burned down, and like left wing propaganda was really strong at that time. It was a dark time to be a right winger. You were getting canceled from YouTube. You had no freedom. At that point, you had no freedom. It was horrible. That was like one of the worst times to be a right winger. But and also the reason why this became like a big thing, Carmelo Anthony and Austin Metcalf, definitely has to be because the George Floyd thing. Now, why is it connected to the George Floyd thing? It is connected to the George Floyd thing because people want something or someone to blame. People always wanted this, and they're going to want this until the day they die. Please, 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 please. I obviously think that like, look, Carmelo Anthony, I believe he's a cold-blooded killer. I believe he's a cold-blooded killer. I'm sorry, I believe he's a cold-blooded killer. If Austin Metcalf went in and pushed him and said that he's going to beat the shit out of him and then he stabbed him, that would be a different thing, and we would be able to start a different kind of a conversation. When somebody asks you nicely, and other people before Austin ask you nicely to leave the tent, and you don't leave the tent, then it is like then it's kind of hard to even defend you. It's kind of hard to defend you. And of course, this is another black guy, white guy thing. And this is simply because of George Floyd. Now I'm going to explain why, but before I explain why, I need to explain what true racism is. Here is what true racism is for people that don't know what true racism is. True racism is this: you see a black man and you know that that black man is a bad black man, and you go in and you go to the other side of the road because you don't want to walk past him at dark. Now, if you have a black man and that black man, you know he's a good black man, he's your friend. He doesn't have to be your friend. He can be your neighbor, and you can know that he's a decent man and he's just the average guy. And if you pass the street, just so you don't have to walk next to him because you believe that because he's black he's bad, even though you know that factually he's not, then that is racism. If you can go in and judge a group of people based on statistics, everybody does that. I do that. I am sorry, I don't feel that confident when I am next to a lot of Muslims, because if they see my Star of David, or if they hear me say something positive about Israel or America, I'm going to have weird looks. I'm going to get weird looks from everywhere. And I know because I got the same thing because my phone case had a Star of David for some time. And I was at this McDonald's and some like guy was delivering food and he was picking it up, whatnot, for this service. And the Muslim was like, he was staring me down. I'm like, what the fuck is your problem, man? Turns out, not the biggest Jew fan. Now, I'm not Jewish, I'm a Christian. The ethnicity is not connected to anything. Besides that, this is a whole race thing. If you judge a group on statistics, that is totally justified, and everybody does that, and everybody that says they don't do it, that is factually incorrect. Everybody does this. It is common sense, and I can explain why it's common sense. If based on statistics we know that a certain group of people is more likely to commit a certain crime or just commit crimes in general, then we're going to kind of avoid those people when it comes to those certain crimes and when it comes to those certain situations when they do commit those crimes. And people say that it is not true and that we don't judge people based on that. Well, people that do say that are basically completely, first of all, they are incorrect. Second of all, they're unintelligent, and third of all, they're liars. Now, why are they liars when they're speaking about this? It is really simple. If you know, matter of fact, do you know what comes out of your sink when you let the sink run? If I put a mug or a cup or just if I put my hand, what comes out? Well, it is water, because on 99.99.99% of sinks, when you let them run, water comes out. Same way when you go to a gas pump and you pump gas, 99.99.99% of time, gas is going to run out, or diesel, or jet fuel. Because certain things are objectively true and certain things are statistically true. That's why we do judge certain people on their race. We judge them on their race because we know that we need to watch out when it comes to certain things. But if you have a neighbor and that neighbor is a certain race that is connected to a certain amount of crimes, to a certain amount, to a statistic that shows that there's a big negative thing about this race, then if you go in out of your way to move away from that neighbor when you know he's a good man, that does make you racist. But the whole thing with Carmelo Anthony and Austin Metcalf is a George Floyd replica. And it is a George Floyd, it is a George Floyd replica when it comes to media coverage, but also is not. It is, but it's not. The reason why I say that it is because it gets a lot of media coverage, and it gets a lot of media coverage because it's an interesting story, and it's like a race connected story from the left, because left accuses everything on white men. Now, why is it connected and not connected at all? Well, George Floyd was a criminal and a junkie. He was a horrible father. He was a horrible man. He was a horrible, just if he was your dad, I feel bad for you. He was a horrible human being. He was a criminal. Like, he was a criminal before that video. He was a criminal, like, always. And a horrible man who did a lot of bad stuff, and including robbing a woman and whatnot. And in the video, we see that they're putting him in there. They give him time. They let him stay on the street. Then they put him in the car. Then they roll the windows down. Then they turn the AC on. Then he starts screaming and flopping around like a fish out of water. Now here's why that happened: because he was on such a high amount of fentanyl, to the point where that amount of fentanyl would be enough to kill a grown horse. That's a lot. And why is that a lot? Because the medical records say that he died from an overdose of fentanyl. Now, can we blame it on the cops? Yes, we can blame it on the cops, less than 5%. But we need to acknowledge that 95% and up, 95% minimally, goes to the fentanyl, and that is his own responsibility. And look, if you want to overdose on fentanyl, do it, but you cannot blame a certain cop and ruin that cop's life. That's the thing with George Floyd. That's the same thing with Renee Good. That's the same thing with Alex Petty. It's the same thing. Well, she goes in and tries to run over a ICE agent and gets shot multiple times. The other guy kicks the taillights out of a ICE agent's car, and then refuses arrest multiple times and gets shot accidentally, and it was a misfire, and it was this and that, a Smith and Wesson or whatever it was. It misfires. Well, I'm sorry. We can acknowledge that, sure, the ICE agent might not be in the right when it comes to Alex Petty. But when it comes to Renee Good, he was totally justified in killing her. We can say it's a tragedy and it's a negative thing that she died, sure, but I'm not going to say that I believe that ICE officer should just stand there like a deer in the headlights of a Ram 1500, or like it's like it's genuinely so stupid that some people think this guy has a gun, this guy should go in and get ran over, when he already got ran over and almost got, like, what, it was like 20 stitches. The ICE agent that killed Renee Good in self-defense, which was totally justified, that same ICE agent was dragged, like, what, it was like 20 yards or more by another illegal immigrant, because he didn't shoot him. He got dragged and got like 40 stitches. It was like 39 stitches, if I'm not mistaken, in his leg. So the guy definitely, like, he realized, okay, let's not do this. Let's not risk my life. I probably have a family. I probably have my own life. It's not worth risking my life to save someone that's trying to run me over with an SUV. But again, to go back, it's similar to the George Floyd thing. It's similar to all of these things that we like mix. We got Alex Petty and Renee Good, but those were like things connected to ICE, and those were like the things that like people were connecting to ICE and saying that ICE is like the Nazis and the Gestapo. It's sure. I don't even care. I don't even want to explain that because it's stupid to even say those things. But when it comes to uh, Metcalf, and when it comes to Austin Metcalf and Carmelo Anthony, look, I feel bad for Austin's family. Metcalf's family is a wealthy family that is like Austin Metcalf. His family is well off. Uh, Carmelo Anthony, on the other hand, his family is wealthy. He grew up in a good family. I know that he grew up in a good family. He grew up, he was not poor. They didn't drive a beater. And he had a nice, stable life. What made him do this, I don't know. I genuinely don't know. It could be the culture. It could be a million of things. But we can just say, I can just say what he got charged with, and when does he have we can only talk about that. We cannot know what why he did that, because nobody knows why he did that. The reason why we don't know why he did that is because if we did know, I mean, this thing would be over the next day when it happened, and it's been some time now. It actually, I kind of forgot about the whole thing. It was like, I believe it's a couple of months already old, which is insane. But more than a couple of months, this thing is kind of old. But again, it's the whole thing kind of, it reminds me of George Floyd, and I keep on saying it again and again, because when George Floyd, and you see these black women, black mothers probably, we see them in the streets saying, I don't know what to do. I don't know what to do. I have like 3 boys or 4 boys or 5 boys at home. I don't know what to do. Well, don't raise a killer. Don't raise someone who's going to stab a kid for just existing. And people think that I'm like joking. I'm not joking. I'm sorry. You should, like, I'm sorry if somebody asks you to leave the tent and then you fucking stab him in the heart and then you complain later like a bitch. I am sorry. Like, you deserve fucking life in prison. Like, what the fuck are we even saying? It's insane. I'm sorry. It's so stupid because we have these guys who are like, they're, I don't know. I don't know. We need to stand up for our youth. We need to stand up. I need to stand up for my bloodline. You are advocating for racial segregation. You're advocating for racism. You are literally advocating for someone treating a white man differently than the black man. This is insanity. Like, don't you see this? Like, and the whole reason is because they're a part of the Democratic Party. Why are they a part of the Democratic Party? It is super simple to say that. They're a part of the Democratic Party because of this simple reason. They don't want to work. Look, if you live in a hood, if you're a black man and you live in a nice suburb actually, you probably have a couple of children. They hang out with the other children. They play at the Xbox and they go in and ride the BMXs and whatnot. You have a nice, comfortable, beautiful family and a nice life and great neighbors, no matter are they white or black or Asian or Hispanic or whatnot. If you're a black man and you grew up in a hood, you're not going to want to work because slinging dough is much cooler. You don't want to work because why work when you can simply just do drugs and sell drugs? And then instead of working, providing, being an entrepreneur, creating something that other people want to pay for, why not simply just blame it all on the system and blame it all on the white man? And then when a black man stands up and does something with his life, you know what you say? Oh, you sold out to the white man. You sold out to the white man. That white man owns you. Why are you hanging around with white man? He doesn't hang around with white man because white men own him. And he doesn't hang around with white man because he benefits financially. In the long term, sure, he benefits financially because if he hangs around with his ghetto black friends, he's probably going to end up in some trouble, or he's going to end up in jail, or he's going to end up dead. So that's the reason why he hangs around with white men and black men who are not idiots. It's unbelievable that certain people are going to call you racist if you just say and acknowledge that, look, hoods are bad. Selling drugs is not the best thing. There's better things to do in life, right? Like, we can all acknowledge this, can we? It's not that hard to acknowledge. Really, it's uh, and then you can do the comparison. You have a black man. That black man lives in a suburb. That black man who lives in a suburb has white friends and black friends. But he's racist because he has more white friends, or he's racist because he acts more like a white person. Then we look at the black friend, or the black guy, just the black guy from the hood. listening to rap and blah blah blah. He goes in and he does illegal stuff. He smokes weed. Holy shit, this guy's gangster. Oh my god. Thug life and shit. He fucking posts on World Star fucking hip hop or whatever it's called. Definition of voice love. But he goes in and he's the actual complete and utter opposite of the suburbs black guy. He goes in, he he doesn't drive a good car. He drives a car which is just unbelievably loud or just obnoxious. He listens to music, he speaks loudly, he doesn't know how to dress properly, and he also is extremely annoying. He goes in and gets in trouble and then blames the system and blames the white man. Who is more racist? A black man who lives in a suburb, provides for his family, works every day hard, teaches discipline, and can spend time with a white man, Asian man, black man. It doesn't matter. Are you white as snow or are you dark as, I don't know, charcoal? It doesn't matter to him. It doesn't. But he's racist and the guy that only hangs around with black people because everyone else is a horrible person for not being black. That guy's not racist and that guy's our savior. This is kind of this is the way that people that are defending Austin that are defending Carmelo Anthony, this is kind of how they sound. I'm sorry if you're going to defend a guy who stabbed a kid for asking him to like leave the tent because he was not supposed to be there, and you're defending that guy. I'm sorry, I'm going to say that you're completely insane and you're the racist one. If you're standing up with a man for being black, that shows you who you really are. Because I'm sorry, if there was a white man stabbing a black kid for asking him to leave the tent, I would go in and say that white man is definitely in the wrong. But that didn't happen and it was the other way around. So let's blame it on the white man because white man did everything bad. And white man is bad because he's more successful than me. But white man actually kind of has to struggle in life to get somewhere. And then when a black man gets somewhere, then we're going to fucking call him white and a sellout. If you believe in these lies, you got brainwashed. You need to kind of look at your life, look where you're going and where you want to be. And then you need to like come to a conclusion. Was that man right when he said that to me? Was he right? Was he right about white people being the devil? Was he right about this, about that? If you believe in these things, you're a lunatic. Austin Metcalf obviously is an innocent kid who is now dead. Right? We can all agree on that. If we don't agree on that, look, you're wrong, and this was the 5th episode of The Voice of the Republic.